Good morning, viewers, my fellow literature students. How you doing this morning? I'm aware that your literature WIAC exam is in a few days, and I thought that it's important I help you out with um, something impactful that you would appreciate before your exam. Okay, I decided to take a few questions and teach you on how to go about them in the exam. I decided to choose only a few texts, a few from drama and prose. Okay, so for this morning, I want us to examine a particular question from the text Look Back in Anger by John Osborne. I want to give you a step by step approach to answering this. Okay, we saw the question What themes What themes of the play are represented by Osborne's meticulous description of the Potter's attic apartment? Sorry, that's supposed to be attic, not attic. And you need to know that attic has to do with something related to the Athenian style, and of course, something very small, something that does not show luxuriance or a very comfortable life at that. Okay, so to answer this question, what themes of the play are represented by Osborne's meticulous description of the Potter's attic apartment? That's a question. Now, the first thing I expect you to do here is to identify a character. We call it character identification. So your first paragraph should be devoted to that. Jimmy is a 25 years old man who has encountered the worst circumstances as a growing young boy, especially the pain of a sick father and the inability to secure a good job. Okay, this also accounts for his anger. So, in my first paragraph, I talked a little bit about the character that I can identify in this question, which is who? Jimmy. All right, now moving on, the second paragraph is asking you to talk about an attic apartment and the theme that you can identify from it. So it's important that you talk about that setting. You talk about the apartment a little bit so that we can see what Osborne was trying to create. Okay. So I move on to the next paragraph. I said Osborne describes Jimmy's one room apartment as having a television, a two armchair, and a little space for ironing. So we are able to understand that it's an enclosed place. It's a very small place. Okay. And this also picture the life of poverty that befalls the average working class person in contrast to the upper class. Okay. Now, Osborne in the next paragraph, Osborne did this to reveal. Now I begin to talk about some themes: tranquil domesticity and the working class. Now, what do we mean by tranquil domesticity? By that, we mean that a, a kind of life that, although it's not so boisterous, although it's not so megalomanious or huge or with a very large capacity, we see that they were still able to live together. They were still able to manage each other, which is that is Jimmy and Allison, his wife. They were able to, still have a peaceable life together, even though it was just a small room having a television and a space for ironing and probably a small space to, for chores like cooking and the rest of it. Okay, so we now began to see that Osborne tried to review the theme of tranquil domesticity, that is, a quiet, homely life. Okay, and of course, the fact that that is the kind of house or kind of space allowed for people in the working class. Okay, now he portrayed it as a simple life, which, though small, guarantees peace and happiness. However, you need to contrast this with the title of the text, Look Back in Anger. So, how does anger or how is anger displayed here? However, this contrasts the anger portrayed by Jimmy throughout the text. So we're able to see that the dramatist John Osborne was trying to contrast what is inside Jimmy to what is outside. It looks peaceable outside. It looks convenient, even though it's small. But really, inside of Jimmy is angry at the economy. He's angry at what has befallen him. And at the age of 25, a graduate like himself could not even get a good job and had to put up a sweet stall to at least make a living and survive with his family. Okay, so this is a model way of answering questions. Try to identify character first, then identify a theme, then with examples, discuss what the question is asking you to talk about. I hope this is helpful. Good morning.